VCs invest in people, they do not invest in ideas. Hi, I'm Hassan, and I am the CEO and co-founder of eZhire. eZhire is an on-demand car rental app. We were the first one in the world in exactly what we do. So basically, you can think of us as Uber for car rentals. Normally, the car rental process is quite complicated. You have to go to the self-pickup location, submit your documents, and it's pretty hassle. You have to take cab to go over there. What we do is, you select the car, select your location, tap deliver, and we get the car delivered to you without the hassle of the documentations or security deposit or insurance. So everything is covered, and the prices are at the lower end in the market. So that's what we do in a nutshell.
Right. So the UAE, and I suppose Dubai in particular, seems to have massive demand for the number of cars that are actually in the region. So was this part of the reason you started the business?
So I actually had car rental experience from before, and we before there was Uber in this region, I always had personal interest in tech side. So I want to build an app, something like Uber, but not as a startup, just for fun. So when I sat with my friend, there was already Uber and Careem in this region. So we thought of the current industry because I already had experience in that, and we tried to search online if there were car rental apps which could deliver the cars to your location. And to our surprise, there was no one in the entire world who were doing exactly what we're doing. So that it seemed like a next logical step that the car rental industry should also be in on the same format, and it has not been changed since the beginning since the cars were invented and rental industry. So the traditional ways had to be changed, and that's where we came in and we started building the app. So we had no goals of having it as a startup or getting funding or making it as a business. That happened over the time. Over the time we started the app, we launched the app, and then people told us we were supposed to incorporate. We incorporated, and then people told us that we're supposed to get funding. So then we Googled that, how do you get funding? How did Facebook and Google, and they got funded. So we came to know about the word VC. So we searched online, and then we approached them, and to our surprise, we got our funding in the first meeting. We got from one of the biggest VCs in the region. That's the Jabbar Internet Group. They're the same company which sold the Souk to Amazon for, I think, around $600 million, and they sold Maktub to Yahoo for around $110 million. So that was one of the major key player in the VC world, and we got the initial seed funding from there, and then that's how we started.
So it sounds like it all happened quite organically. That, as you say, you started it almost as a bit of fun, but saw there's real demand for it. But there's some quite, I suppose, complicated parts to this: the tech side of it, the car rental side of it, the legal side of it, and so on. So talk to me about the steps of at the point you realized, we should make a real business of this. What were the things that you had to put in line then?
Well, I was fortunate enough to find a co-founder as CTO. He was already a senior developer and on a senior position in a big company in UAE, and he was also my friend. So we shared same kind of spirit, and I come from the car rental background. So I already started 2-3 car rental companies, so I knew the legal how legality works, but we had no idea how it works on the tech side. So we just started with it without any kind of incorporation. And then after a couple of months, we incorporated the company. We got into one of the incubators, which is from the UAE government, for Dubai government. It's called In5 Tech. So they select one of the best. They conduct a 5-minute pitch, and they select the best ones, and then they support them for 3 years with legal trade license and the office and the visas, what are the legal requirements are there. So it's fully funded by them, and we started our journey. In fact, we started our journey before being incorporated. Before we were incorporated, we were doing some rentals a month, but our target was not to make any kind of money. It was purely for fun purposes.
Makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned that you went down the VC route almost immediately once you decided that you should raise some money,
Yes,
whereas I suppose most would go to angels or wealthy
exactly.
individuals.
Yeah.
So what was that
So
experience like for you?
yeah, so what happened is when we I always, so my personal thing is I always go for the basic, and or I select the best. If I cannot afford the best, then I don't take the middle route. I wait till I get the best. So in the incubator we had a lot of people, they advised us to go to angels, but then I did meet few angels and it just didn't sound that it could click with them, because they just wanted to see profits within a year, or they wanted 25% of the company, and it just did not make logical sense. So then I aimed to target the highest profile VCs, and we had meeting with them, and we were already doing business, even though the revenue was quite small. But what matters is a proof of concept, and VCs invest in people; they do not invest in ideas. Ideas come after the team. So they could see that we were someone who are people who get things done, and they invested, and then that from there onwards we went forward. And you get, mainly when you get big VCs, you get right advices, right type of connections, and that's what we were looking for, to be honest.
Mm. And what were the things? Obviously, you were very successful in that first meeting, the first one that you went to. So, what were the things that you think really ticked their boxes? What was it that sold
Well,
them on yourself?
well, when they invited me into the meeting, I was honestly not prepared, because that was the first time I was actually meeting a VC. So they expected that I'll be having a pitch deck or some sort of presentation. And when I went over there, I was like, this is the first time I'm actually having a VC meeting, and I was like, let's keep it short. I asked them if to find download any car rental app in the world and try to book a car. So they tried to book a vehicle, and then once they booked the vehicle, I asked them, now how to get the vehicle, and they were like, okay, we will need to go over there. So then I gave them our app, and I was like, there's just three steps. You just select the car, number of days, and tap deliver, and the car comes to you in an hour. And the prices are half of the prices what you're gonna find in any other platform. So it just makes logical sense. So then we had 2 hours of chat on how we plan to scale, and our previous journey, and the tech side and marketing side, and that's how it went forward. So usually, and I think the boxes that ticked were, we started with self-financing. Without we were personally invested in the company. We were doing transactions. We had a minimum viable product, and we had expertise both on the business side and on the tech side. So that pretty much ticks all of the boxes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then fast forward to today. So you've now got a fully fledged team. It looks
Yeah.
like you're operating across the UAE as well. So
No,
how's that
right.
affected your
Yeah.
role
No,
as
sorry.
the founder?
Yes. So right now, we have over 100 plus team members, and before the end of this year, we're going to be having 250 to 300 more team members. We are across in the UAE, and right now we started in Oman, in Pakistan. That's one of the biggest market, and this month we'll be starting in Bahrain and Kuwait, and next month we'll be starting in Saudi and Qatar, and hopefully before the end of the year we'll be also starting in New York, because that's one of the biggest market, and also Turkey. So this year is purely expansion period. Now I started my journey. When I started, I was doing absolutely everything from A to Z, from having meetings to speaking to the customers to the marketing side. Everything was being done by me. But then we got our team over here, and my basic tasks were dedicated to the team members. And as we come to now, we're still waiting for our general manager who will be reporting to me. But I'm more of involved in when it comes to guiding the team in the right direction, ensuring that the all of the departments are aligned with the vision of the founders and the vision long-term goals of the company. So that's where I come in, and more of the high level meetings when it comes, let's say, if there's a big company with 10,000 cars, and there's a meeting with their general managers or the owners of the company. So I'll be part of that meeting. But general day-to-day operations or day-to-day matters, that's being taken care by the managers who report to me directly.
So it sounds like you're seeing massive growth then, which for a founder, this is so exciting. The team's growing, you're
Yeah,
going into new
yeah.
countries. For other founders that have the same ambition of growing that quickly, what are some of the growing pains, if you like? What are some of the things that you've got to make sure you get right in order to be able to grow at that rate?
Right. So I personally believe that you should always have a bit of research before you're dipping your toes in something. The reason we did not find a lot of hurdles in our journey was we already had the domain expertise as well as the tech expertise. So a lot of people actually face both of the issues. Some people, they might face tech issues or domain issues. Let's say if it was someone else and who would want to start an on-demand car rental company and he had no background experience in the domain and IT, so they would want to probably hire someone. And if you would hire a person on a tech side, he won't have that level of dedication. So my advice is, even if you do not have domain and you're founding the company, you should have one founder who is coming from the tech side and one founder who is coming from the domain side. That is very important. And if you can achieve both of these things, I think the journey would be pretty smooth, because you will already know what kind of problems that you're going to face, and you can take it forward from there onwards. So that's my personal advice.
Amazing. And obviously, with so much going on then, in terms of expansion, what are the big goals over the next 12 months?
So in the next 12 months, our main goal is to have expansions in New York, Saudi, have a good level of growth in Saudi, because that's one of the biggest market, and be properly operational in all of the GCC countries and Turkey and one or two European countries. So these are our goals during the next 12 months.
For those less familiar with the region, what are the real differences when working within each of the GCC countries?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, for those less familiar with the region, when you're expanding throughout the GCC, what are the big variants? What are the big differences in running a business?
Yes, so it's very different running the business in this region compared to European and Western regions. The main thing is you need to have, if you're starting any kind of business over here, you need to hire a manager or someone who already have expertise in this region. Because when it comes to rules, regulations, when it comes to how to deal with your clients, customers, suppliers, so you need to have someone from this region. If you're going to hire someone from US or UK, he won't be able to have that level of efficiency when it comes to dealing with your suppliers or the customers, because every region has a different kind of mindset, and that is my advice when it comes to doing business in this region.
Great. And for those listening, where can they find out more about both yourself and eZhire?
Well, about me, probably on LinkedIn, and about eZhire, you can always go to eZhire.ae to find more information about that. So it's E for Echo Zebra and then hire.ae.